I wish I'd known these things before I first started. Choosing the right business model. Now, if you've done any research about reselling on Amazon, Amazon FBA, there are generally going to be about 4 main types of business models you're going to understand. 1 will be private label or brand building. Number 2 will be wholesale. Number 3 will be online arbitrage. And number 4 will be retail arbitrage. I would say start with retail arbitrage or online arbitrage. It's the lowest amount of investment to get going, and you can start building a cash flowing business really, really quickly. Wholesale takes a little bit more capital, generally 5 to 10,000 to get started. And then private label is really you're putting all that 5 to 10,000 into one product and hoping you're going to win big. Now, the second thing I wish I'd known is about which type of Amazon selling account to get started with. Now, you have the individual selling account or the professional. And at the fundamental level, if you want to take your business seriously, you need a professional selling account. It does cost a little bit more. It has a monthly subscription, but you cannot win the buy box without a professional selling account. This is when you go on any Amazon listing and you go over to the buy now button. Whoever's name is underneath that wins what's called the buy box. Now, if you have an individual selling account, you cannot get your name under there. They won't let you do it. You are not going to get access to 85, 95% of all the sales on Amazon, which is really why you're here to make money. So get that professional selling account. Get comfortable second guessing yourself. You are going to be buying deals, questioning what's going on, and really thinking, do I really understand the business? It takes a long time to figure out and to get expert at this. You can start buying tomorrow, but it's going to take time for you to find a product, scan it, analyze it, ship it in, and see whether it's done well. And after a while, you're going to start seeing what really works and what doesn't. But even if you know exactly what works, sometimes the market just changes. Sometimes there's a lot of supply of that product and too many sellers come into the listing and the price tanks. This happens, unfortunately, but sometimes you get really lucky and the price goes right up. Don't be worrying about second guessing yourself. This is just part of building a business. Understand that it takes time to make a profit. You've got to learn a skill set that's going to take time, and you've got to buy products and resell them. Usually it'll take about a month from the moment you buy them to get them into Amazon before they might even start selling. So this is how long it takes before you even start seeing sales, let alone profit. So just be mindful, put your head down, work hard. It does take time, but if you can stick in there, you are going to do amazingly well, because you are going to be one of the few people who aren't looking for riches within 1 or 2 days. That is the reason why most people quit. Now, the next thing I wish I knew was about joining a community. I started a lot of this doing it on my own, and I could have just shortcut the journey or fast-tracked it being in a community, because there are so many people who are just ahead of me that are willing to help out and share what they've learned. Too many times we try and figure it out ourselves. Just asking people questions and getting specific answers to our questions back is going to change the game and allow you to scale so much quicker. If you are looking for a community to join, myself and a fellow 7-figure Amazon seller, Ahmed, we have joined forces together to create the #1 paid community on the school platform. And right now, if you're interested, you can check it out for a free 7-day trial. I'll drop a link down below. Check it out today, the Amazon FBA War Room. Now, the next thing I wish I'd known is about making ungating a priority. One thing you're going to find when you first start selling is that you're pretty much gated on everything that everyone tells you to sell, which is like, oh, it's the worst thing ever. But what you've got to do is focus on getting ungated. This does take a little while, and before you get ungated, you've got to start getting some sales, which is kind of like a chicken and egg. You can still sell some things, start selling some products, and then really get ungated. There are so many suppliers you can use to get products ungated, but the amount of products, the amount of brands and categories that a new seller can sell is so limited, it's very difficult to start making profits from. So do focus on getting ungated. This is just going to expand what you can sell and make your life so much easier. I'll even drop my free ungating guide down below. It's got suppliers for the UK and USA in that as well, so check that out. Getting started is hard. Finding deals is hard, and the one way you can speed this up is by using something called a lead service. Now, there are many services out there. They're called online arbitrage deal services or online arbitrage lead services or Amazon lead services. If you Google them, you'll find them. They have VAs, they have staff who are finding deals every day, and they're putting them onto their sheets, their platforms, and you can get access to these deals. And the whole point about this is it just allows you to get started really fast with deals which you can buy today and start selling. Now, the big point I recommend recommend behind lead services is that use it as a starting point. Use it as I found this deal, or I got this lead from this lead service, and then from there I went and sourced, found some more products. It just gives you a good starting point. Don't use it to build your business entirely, but it helps get you going a little bit faster, just like rocket fuel. Now, the next thing I wish I'd known is about managing my cash flow. One thing that happens once you start getting deals coming in, you start finding deals that you like, is you're starting to spend. You're not sure actually how much you can spend or you can't spend. And this is so important within Amazon, understanding your cash flow. Now, Amazon are basically, once you ship a product in and get it sold, Amazon are going to hold the money for 14 days, which is an absolute pain. And then it takes about 2 to 3 days for the money then to get dispersed into your bank account, which you can then use to pay off credit cards. And if you don't understand that cycle of money and the way it works, it can cause you a lot of headaches, a lot of stress and frustration. So managing your cash flow is really, really important. Now, I do have a great video on cash flow management, and we have a sheet that we use that manages that as well. So obviously check that out on my YouTube channel. But managing your cash flow is so key as you start growing that business. Now, the next thing I'm going to share with you is about prep and inventory management. Now, what do I specifically mean by this? You can prep yourself or a third-party supplier warehouse, such as a prep center, to prep for you. I always recommend using a prep center because I think that the prep doesn't add value to the business. It's just something you've got to do. If you're struggling for time to find deals, the more time you're not sourcing, the slower your business is growing. So if you're spending time prepping and not sourcing, your business is growing slowly. So getting someone else to do that prep, it's going to speed up your sourcing journey. Now, the one thing that I've learned in my own business is the fact that having a bad prep center or having someone who's just really slow slows your entire operation down. For example, a couple of years ago when we first started in the USA, we started with a brand new prep center, and in November we shipped in lots of stock ready for the Christmas period. We weren't tracking the prep center, and we didn't realize that that stock didn't actually get shipped into Amazon until January. So we had Christmas stock going live in Amazon in January, which was an absolute pain and obviously caused us a lot of problems. So for you, if you're working with prep centers, your logistics, you're looking at your shipments, make sure you're keeping on top of them every week, having a check. Is your stock actually getting into Amazon? Is it going live? Is it selling? That's so important because otherwise your business is going to grind to a halt. Now, the next thing I wish I'd known is about coupons, discount codes, and cashback. When you are sourcing, finding products, profitable products on their normal price can be a real challenge. Many times we can get just close to that ROI or margin that we're looking for. And if only we could get a few more percentage points off, that's going to change the game. So the one thing you can do, which really, really helps out this problem, is looking for coupon codes, discounts, cashbacks, even cashback credit cards. All these things can just help reduce that buy price down and make you some more profits. I've done so many videos about them, and this is where you are going to maximize your profitability. And if you can find coupon codes that no one else knows about, you are literally going to have an edge that you're going to be able to keep repeating for weeks, months, even years. I know people have. This is just going to help your business to grow. So make sure you focus on them. Now, one of the biggest problems that I face, and one thing I wish I'd known, is about being organized. We look at Amazon on TikTok, on YouTube, or wherever, and we think it's a great business model. It's simple, it's easy. And you know what? It is. But at the end of the day, it's still a business. And that means we've got to be organized. It's getting things like SellerAmp to track all our purchases on a buy sheet, Seller Board to track all of our sales to make sure we're profitable, tracking everything in the prep center. We even need accounting software. There's so many things that we need to be tracking. Making time in your week to be organized is so important. For example, in my business, Monday is the day that I get on top of all of my administration. I get it all done. That way it frees up the rest of the week that we can focus on growing the business. But I also know exactly where my business is because I've done the administration. Don't forget this. Not only obviously do you have like the tax man, but you also have Amazon. You're going to have issues on your journey. And if you're not on top of your paperwork, that means it's just going to be a lot slower and even harder to fix those problems. So make time in your week to focus on the administration. Now, the penultimate thing that I wish I'd known before I first started selling on Amazon is scaling is hard. And actually, the one biggest problem most people have is they just don't have enough time in the day. Sourcing takes up so much time. There are things like sourcing software and lead service, which are great. But how do all the professionals do it? How are the people who are doing it at 7 figures and above? They're all using VAs, virtual assistants. Now, the thing which I'll say is VAs are great once you start scaling. Once you're over about that $10,000 per month mark, a VA is going to be a really good place for you to look at and to start growing. But using them can be really important, but just make sure you hire a good VA. I've seen too many people hire really bad VAs. Not only has the VA not turned up, but they've also shared deals, they've also shared suppliers, and this has cost the business owner money. So getting a good VA is one of the most important things. But once you get a good VA, that can really scale your business up. Now, the final thing I'm going to say that I wish I'd known when I first started is testing. I mean, looking at what other sellers are doing, looking at what other tools sellers are using, looking at other ways sellers are growing their business, learning from that community that you're part of, and testing what they're doing, seeing what works for you and your business. Why? Because when I first started, I was just doing straight OA, literally buy low, sell high, and I didn't know there are many ways to do it. And what I was doing was wrong. What I was doing was the way that all the prices kept crashing. It was really hard to find deals, and my business just wasn't running as profitably as it could have been. But when I started talking to other sellers in the communities, they started telling me about the discount codes, the coupons, different brands to look for, or where we could get discounts from suppliers. All these little things that I started hearing about, I needed to test them and to get them working in my business. And it wasn't until I actually started focusing on growing my business rather than running my business and being in it day to day that my business actually started to take off. And for you, I'd say the biggest thing is make sure you're always learning, testing new things in your business, and being adaptable. That's one of the biggest things that you can do. Now, what I will say is hopefully you like that video, but if you want to learn how much profit a single VA can make, I'll drop a link around here to a video that I recorded looking at all the numbers, the case studies, and the way it works with virtual assistants helping you to scale your Amazon business.